Yo! What is good, Sixer Nation? Welcome on in to another edition of Philly Take with RB. And we're back for another episode of Sixers Therapy, where Sixer fans come together and they voice their frustrations and they vent. And they also get a glimmer of positivity and talk about what is coming next. Big couple wins in a row. We'll talk about how they went down. I'll tell you about my experiences at the game last night. We'll talk Tyrese Maxey's rise to stardom, Kyle Lowry, and a whole bunch more right here on the show. And of course, we'll hear from Sixer Nation a little later on. Welcome on in. Hope everybody is having a good Tuesday evening as we are here reporting live once again. Welcome on in. It is Philly Take with RB, and it is Sixers Therapy Podcast. Like I said last week, we're going to be doing this show once a week. I want to have an opportunity to just kick back, relax, recap the week, talk about what's coming next. And we're inching our way towards the playoffs. And obviously, I want to give a voice to the fans as well. And that is what our intentions here are. So we will talk about what happened over the last week. And like I said, later on, we'll get to some positive things and talk about what is going well, what's not. If you're just tapping in with us, do me a favor, hit the like button. Help us get to 500 likes on this show. Help us continue to grow it. And let me know how you're feeling in the chat. Let me know how you are feeling. Are you happy after last night's win, after the last couple games? What do you think is going well for this team? What do they need to improve on? Where are they at? All my Sixer diehards, stand up in the chat. Appreciate everybody who took the chance to, call in last week, and we'll open up the Discord in a little while. But let me tell you something, man. That was a big win last night. 76ers get a huge win in terms of standings, in terms of potential tiebreakers, etc. last night as they take down the Miami Heat. And like I said, I was at the game. I'm actually going to pull up the stat line, the box score. I never even looked at it from last night. I just know that there were some really crazy sequences in that game. Like, it was a roller coaster of emotion. Shout out to JJ for holding it down on the stream. But, man, I was losing my marbles at that game. Sixers are up 17 points. I'm watching Nick Nurse and Eric Spoelstra almost blow out veins in their head. They're screaming. They're going at the officials. And, they're making tons of adjustments. It was just a really well-coached game from both teams. And the Sixers go up 17 in the second half. And the third quarter ends. And I'm sitting there looking at others going, yo, we got this. We're going to win this game. Like, the Sixers are actually delivering. And by the time I know it, 5 minutes go by, and it's a tie game. And I'm like, holy crap. Holy crap. Here we are. Sixers cardiac in full effect. And, man, it was a wild ride. But shout out to Tyrese Maxey for another 30-point game. We'll talk about him. Kyle Lowry. I have a lot to say about him so far. But his impact was surely felt last night. How about Kelly Oubre? How many blocks did he finish with? How many? 5 blocks? 5 blocks for Kelly Oubre Jr. It was a wild sequence, and obviously Larry hit the big 3 with about 3 minutes to go, which kind of solidified the deal. But, man, what a game. What a game to go to. Talk about some other things I saw as well. Let's shout out some of the people who are already tapped in here. In the chat, we got Jamie Slack. What's up, Jamie? JS in the building. JB Warnock, what's up? We got Macy. We got Wadington. Laura Cook. We got Hector. Cammy, what's going on? Mr. J Balvin says, tell Tobias to take his time healing. Want to make sure he's all good. Maybe sit to the playoffs. Boy, oh boy. I got some things to say about Tobias Harris. You may like him, you may not, but that's why we're here. We're here to gather around, talk about our frustrations, and hopefully feel better by the end of it. Shout out to all the great channel members in here as well. Like I said, our giveaway will be next month, and we're actually going to throw in another item into the giveaway that I got last night at the game. So we will talk about that as well. But the Sixers have now won 2 consecutive games, and, things are feeling a little better. They're 38-30. Let's take a live look at the standings. And where do you guys and gals think the 76ers are going to finish off at the end of the season? Like I said, last night was a big win. Although Miami was down Jimmy Butler and they were down Hero, and, at one point, Terry Rozier started cooking. That was crazy. But, they were down a lot of guys. They're very well coached. And for the Sixers to go out there, they were moving the ball well. They were playing very good defense, like better than I've seen in a long time. And I was watching specific players. I'll even give credit to a guy like Mo Bamba, who had a couple nice big defensive stops, even though there were points where I was very frustrated with him, per always. But, Kelly Oubre was coming up big. Kyle Lowry, Maxey, these guys were playing like they wanted it last night, and they just kept stepping on their throat when they needed to. I thought the ball was moving great. I loved Tyrese Maxey's ability to create just himself. Like, everybody get out of my way. I'm going to get a bucket. And I feel like the more we see that in terms of a developing Tyrese Maxey, like the sky's the limit for this kid. I love the way Kyle Lowry made winning plays. I loved how everybody was just in their spots last night, and they did what worked well for them. They didn't try to do too much. They didn't try to overstep anybody else. There was one really wild stretch, though, where the Sixers collapsed, like I said, in the fourth quarter. Other than that, I thought they played a really smooth game, and I was kind of surprised about it, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, we look at the standings. The Sixers are now number 6. Indiana actually lost last night, and with Miami losing, they dropped to the number 8 seed. So now Philly's back up, number 6. They are 2 games behind Orlando. I know you can't see the numbers, but right now they're at number 5, and then the Knicks are 4. However, I've said for about a month or two now, I think the Knicks can be the one team as of right now that actually, contests with Boston, but they're very banged up. Jalen Brunson's having an all-world type of year, but, Anunoby, Julius Randle, they have some really serious injuries, and I don't know if they're going to stay healthy, to be honest. I'm looking at Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell's still banged up, and Mobley's banged up. I don't know if the Cavs are going to do anything in the playoffs. Honestly, let me ask you this right now, Sixer Nation, and once again, welcome in. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button if you're just tapping in. Who do you want to play in the first round? I was talking to my boy about this last night, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I kind of want to play the Cavs. I kind of want to play the Cavaliers, man. I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs. Do I want to play the Bucks in the playoffs? Not in the first round, because I just feel like it would be so annoying if the Sixers were, say banged up, say Embiid doesn't come back or whatever, or he does and he's very injured and he's trying to play through it, and you're going up against Milwaukee and Doc Rivers beats you, and the headlines are, oh, Doc gets his revenge. Like, it's just going to be so annoying. So I'd rather save that till the second round. But if the Sixers get the Cavaliers, if they go Cavs first round, Bucks in the second round, I mean, dude, I'm telling you right now, they might be able to win both those series. Am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? It's so hard to predict this damn team, and I feel like this season in the NBA is so hard to predict with the way teams are injured, and then they're not, and then they look really good, and then they look really bad. It's a weird season, man. It's been a weird season. Looks like the chat saying Orlando. They'd want to play. Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen unless somehow the Sixers either, I mean, I guess Orlando would have to go on a crazy tear in this last couple of weeks. I don't know what their schedule looks like. Or Sixers would probably have to, fall a little bit, and Orlando would have to rise. But, yeah, man, I actually am starting to think I want to play the Cavaliers, because I just don't think that they are capable of winning a tough series. I think the way they play is very skeptical. It's very suspicious in many ways, or it makes me skeptical, and it's very suspicious. And yeah, I really think if Joel Embiid can come back healthy, okay, and I was talking to some people, not in the building last night, I was talking to some people, okay, and here's what they told me. They said Joel Embiid's coming back. Like, he's going to play. And I'm going to trust what they said. Now, again, my response to, is Joel Embiid coming back? And when they say yes, my main response is, okay, but at what percentage level? Like, are we going to get 100% Embiid? Are we going to get MVP Embiid? And a couple people last night to me said, well, if we do, then this is perfect timing. This is exactly what we needed. Get Embiid healthy, get him fully rested, head into the playoffs, and boom, he can go on a journey run, redemption arc for Joel Embiid. And I said, okay, hopefully. Hope you're right. But that is really the main concern. What level of Joel Embiid will we get back? And I actually want to go to Shams, because he once again reported on the situation, and he's been saying a lot about Embiid. Shout out to Philly Sixers Galaxy. Joel did not travel with the team for their upcoming 4-game road trip. We're going to get to this a little later on. Sixers have a West Coast trip coming up, and we'll be streaming all the games at 10 p.m., 10:30, so I hope you guys tap in with us. But Embiid will be exactly 7 weeks out from his meniscus surgery on March 26th. So doesn't look like Embiid's going to play on the West Coast trip. He was there last night. He was in good spirits, having fun on the bench as always. Love that he's in a good mindset for sure. But that is where we are at with Joel Embiid. Doesn't look like he's going to play the next 4. And the reports are that he's going to come back first or second week of April, hopefully to have a couple games before the playoffs. Now, here's what Shams said. Quote, I think the Sixers want to make sure that Joel Embiid is right before he gets thrown out there. They don't know when he's going to be back, but obviously the hope is, the goal is that he's able to ramp up at some point in April. So again, signs are pointing to this first or second week of April, and the people that I talked to last night seem to reiterate the same type of message. Like, you know, first week, maybe like mid-second week of April, we're going to see Joel Embiid back on the floor, which if he does come back is incredible. But I do hope he is healthy. So once again, I'll ask you all in the chat, like, do we feel that this team can compete if we get Joel Embiid back? Like, what if we get 80% Joel Embiid? Can this team make a run? Have you seen enough from the rest of the squad? If we can get Joel Embiid back, and Nick Nurse is starting to throw hints out about Robert Covington, I don't think Melton is coming back. And I do have my concerns on the defensive side of the ball, especially guarding the perimeter. I don't know if we're good enough. I know Kyle Lowry's going to be a huge impact to that, and I'll talk about that in just a bit. But getting a guy like Rocco back could be huge. Get another wing defender back. Get another wing defender back that could go out and stick some of these other talented ball handlers on the opposite team. So, yeah, I think Rocco coming back could be huge. If we get Joel Embiid, I think that'll be very interesting. I don't think anybody will want to play the Sixers in the first round. I'll put it that way. So, let's see. Wade says Embiid is truly a warrior. Secret underdog. What's going on, bro? We got Chiquita dropping the MVP emoji. What's up? Noom says if we get a healthy Embiid, Rocco and Melton will be a big problem. I think Joel comes back on 4-2. I thought the 26th of March. Mr. J Balvin says Oubre healed. Can't wait for Hield to play with Embiid. And he definitely has been struggling a bit, trying to find his kind of identity here on this offense. But, you know, the Sixers as a whole just need to shoot better. That's what it comes down to. And even though they weren't shooting the best at certain times last night, I just love the way that, again, the offense was flowing. And I know you guys are going to, some of you are going to say you completely agree. Some of you are going to say you absolutely disagree. And that's the love of this show, man. This is Sixers therapy. We let it out. I said this to my boy last night. I want to know, agree or disagree, okay? Drop it in the chat. Call me a hater if you want. I'm speaking my mind. Tobias Harris cannot start a game for the rest of the season. Tobias Harris cannot start for the rest of the season. What I saw last night, again, we know Miami is coached well. The way that they play, like even though they're down 4 guys, you just see the Spo effect. I'm watching the non-Tobias effect last night. Guys were quick to the basket. Everybody was playing defense. There was more switchability on defense. Just the things that kind of connect and mesh the team were there last night. Nothing personal against Tobias, but this is now 2 games in a row. And I know the Hornets one got, really close, and it was not the prettiest win, but it was a win. And this team has not been able to get wins. And Tobias Harris has hurt them in multiple areas. But I'm watching closely last night. I'm just watching certain guys, how they're approaching their role. And what I'm starting to see is that, I already kind of knew this, but when Tobias is out there, it almost feels like these guys have to give him possessions. Oh, he's the leader in the locker room. He's the $40 million guy. We have to kind of give up and sacrifice some of our own, offensive mindset in a way so that Tobias can get his touches, because if he doesn't get the touches, it just doesn't look right or feel right. And that's what I'm starting to see personally. And I saw it last night. Everybody was involved. There was nothing just kind of slowing the team down. There was nothing, in the road, blocking the street. Things were just flowing, and it was fun to watch. Again, I know they had the one stretch where they almost collapsed, but that was a tough win last night. And I don't think you can start him for the rest of the year. I would bring him off the bench. The flow was incredible. Secret says we look so much better without him on the court. So much better. Miles better. Shadow says the 2 times Tobias was gone, the 2 times we won. Wave him now. Miller says I'm always down for some Tobias slander. I'm not even trying to slander him. I'm just being honest with what I'm saying. It is so bad. Like, if he was a neutral in terms of effect on this team, it'd be one thing, but he's a negative. He takes away touches from Kelly Oubre and Buddy Hield and Tyrese Maxey. The way Tyrese was attacking last night was poetic. He had 17 in the first quarter, and if he didn't come out and lose his steam at one point, I thought the dude was going for 50. Last time I went to the game, I saw Joel drop 70. I thought at one point Tyrese was about to go for 50. I really did. I thought he may be able to go for 60, but obviously Spo is a mastermind of a coach. He's not going to let that happen. He started to switch to zone, and he was throwing tons of things at the Sixers, but Nurse was answering them at every stop of the way, and it was great to see. And, even the one point where, who was it? It was Caleb Martin. He almost got thrown out of the game. I thought he actually made contact with the official. It was like right in front of me. And, he's like smacking his hand, and then Spo comes running on the floor. They both get technicals, and Nurse didn't stop there. They were answering back. They were complaining just as much, and they were able to keep their cool. So it was nice to see. But again, Tyrese Maxey was the guy that led the way last night. And here are Tyrese Maxey's numbers over his last 3 games. The task for Tyrese Maxey is going to continue to elevate. It's going to rise. And these playoffs are going to be the first time, there is no Ben Simmons. There is no James Harden. So, whether Embiid is healthy or not, Nick Nurse is going to go to Tyrese Maxey and say, we are handing it over to you, Tyrese. Like, this is your opportunity to king the throne. And you have to go out there and play like this in the playoffs. Nick Nurse said it the moment he was hired. He said, we're going to get the ball in Tyrese Maxey's hands a lot more. You need to go establish yourself and say, this is my court, Tyrese. In the playoffs, maybe there's a game where Joel's not playing well and he can't move well. Tyrese, you got to go out and do exactly this. His mindset was there from the opening tip last night. We've seen times in his career, and I get it. He's very young. I was saying to my buddy last night, he's only 23 years old, which is insane. But there are times where Maxey has gotten very passive because of, varying factors and just alternating things in the offense and just a lot of guys moving around and just, he's had to go through a lot of different changes structurally with the team. But now it's like, Tyrese, this is your time, bro. He's dropping 30 every single game now. 34-4, 33-4, 38-10. It's your time, young fella. And shout out to Michael KB. He says Maxey needs one more 30-point game this season to pass Allen Iverson, who was in the building last night, got a huge ovation for most 30-point games in a season before turning 23 in Sixers history. And he just turned 23. But for an entire season, like his 23-year-old season, Tyrese Maxey needs one more 30-point game. When you look at his growth and his elevation and what he has done so far, when it comes to the stats, all the proof is there. The proof's in the pudding. Like, he is going to be a superstar one day if he's not already. And all this experience is really helping this guy out. And I just want to watch a few plays last night from Maxey. I mean, it was poetic. Like I said, he took over. He took over. Like, these are things that we didn't usually see from Tyrese in prior years. He's just so comfortable out there, man. I really thought he was going for like 50. His start and stop, his ability to find other guys. He's not turning the ball over as much. It was a great game out of Tyrese Maxey. I love this play right here. This is one of my favorite plays of the game. Watch how he stops and starts. Look at that. Switches direction. Duncan Robinson doesn't even know what hit him, man. Blows right by him and one. Kid is incredible. And he's always got a bright smile running down the floor. He's perfecting that step back. His dribble package has improved tremendously. Even as a defender, he just looks a lot better, a lot cleaner than before. And when you're there in person, one thing I'll say, and if anybody's been to the games this year, let me know if you agree or disagree. It's really hard to keep this guy in front too, man. Like, he looks fast on the screen, but when you're there watching him, man, he can stop and start on a dime. And man, just his dribble penetration, it's just taking itself to another level. And obviously his shot is there. So yeah, Tyrese Maxey is a walking highlight reel. And I only think he's going to get better. But when the playoffs come, it's surely going to be a huge test, you know? Glitch says it's insane. He's only 23. Usually players take until 26 or 27 to take leaps like this. Macy says Tyrese cooking. Broad says he had 29.5, finished with 30. At the end of the day, man, he didn't play a lot in the third quarter. They kind of went through some others. They did have a cold stretch. But Tyrese Maxey, I don't think he had 29 at halftime. I think he had more in the second half. I'm pretty sure he hit a couple free throws literally in the fourth quarter. I know he did cool off. Kelly Oubre stepped up big time. But, yeah, man, Tyrese was cooking. He was cooking, and he did his job. He led the team. That's what he needed to do. And if I look, here's last night's box score. 30 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, and 3 turnovers. That's where we're at, man. That's where we're at. And the reason I don't think Tobias Harris can start for the rest of the year is because Kyle Lowry is capable of doing it. Now, once again, welcome on into the show. If you're just tapping in, hit that thumbs up button. I got to go on a quick rant in a good way about Kyle Lowry, okay? First off, the Miami Heat should be embarrassed for getting rid of this guy. And I know his numbers haven't been oh so polished since coming to Philly, and he's been off for like 4 or 5 games. But yesterday, I left the arena thinking one thing about Kyle Lowry. And I'm going to pull up my tweet that I put out at like midnight last night when I got home. So I was really thinking about it. Kyle Lowry's a winner, man. Kyle Lowry is a winner. All the little things that, say, a guy like Tobias Harris won't do, Kyle Lowry does them. The fact that this guy is 37 years old and he goes diving over the scores table. Let's watch this, man. I'm sitting here watching this just laughing like this guy's incredible. He's won a championship. He doesn't need to go out there and sacrifice his body. Look at this. He's stumbling. Boom. Matt Cord, you got to catch him, my guy. Shout out to Matt Cord, one of the best in the game. He went tumbling into the stands. And you know what this was, man? Kyle Lowry was getting some revenge against the Heat last night. Like I said, there's no reason they should have got rid of this guy. You know why they got rid of him? Because of numbers, because of age, because they had to. Kyle Lowry is a huge reason they went to the finals last year, and he's a winner. All the years that we used to talk bad about Lowry on this channel, I always said if he was on the Sixers, I'd like him. I used to call him Floppy McFlopperson. I used to call him annoying. He was a crybaby. He was. But now that he's on our team, it's so freaking fun to watch. This guy is 37 on his last leg. And will he be able to hold up in the playoffs? I don't know. But I really need to see Maxey and Lowry next to each other because it's not only the things like this. There was one play, and this was my other favorite play of the night. This was my other favorite play of the night, and nobody will probably remember it, but Bam Adebayo was in the post. I believe it was Bam. It was on the opposite side of where I was sitting, but I'm watching Bam, and he's got Lowry in the post, and he's posting him up, and I'm sitting there. First off, intuitively, I'm just like, okay, like that's a basket, bad switch. Mo Bamba started to play lazy, and he didn't, stay on his man. So Lowry's in the post, and I'm like, damn, like easy too. And what does Lowry do? He starts grabbing at his leg. He's trying to swipe the ball a little bit, but staying back and just shuffling his feet like frantically. And then he kind of gets pushed back a little bit and gives a little bit of a flop. And I think Bam lost the ball. But that type of play, it's not always about having the most talent, but like you just have to know how to win, how to play the game. And that was a huge play. And later on, he actually took a charge and they reviewed it and didn't give it to him, even though he wasn't really moving. It should have been another charge. But those types of winning plays is what will be very, vital to this team going forward, especially if they're playing a team more talented. And it's just like I've never seen Tobias or a couple other guys do things like that. It's a reason I like Pat Bev, man, because he makes those winning plays. Kyle Lowry is not afraid to jump over the scores table at 37 years old. He is a dog. He's from North Philly, and we all knew that, he was close to being traded here a couple years ago. I would have liked him then, but I'm just glad to have this guy on the team. That's what I thought about Lowry last night, and he just makes winning plays, man. He just makes winning plays. Last night, he had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, 16 points. He was great, man. And he hit a 3 to seal it late in the game. And he had that one play where he ended up getting an and one. Like, just winning plays, man. Even if he gets switched onto a bigger offensive player, he knows how to hold himself. So that's kind of how I feel about Kyle Lowry in a nutshell. Like, he's just a winner. He is a winner. And he had both coaches that he's played for last night going at it. And, even this play right here, which I thought was hilarious. I posted this on Instagram earlier. Follow our Instagram page. Look at this. Lowry's out here flipping the bird. The sneaky flip. The sneaky flip under the jersey. He's having fun, man. Getting a guy's head. Real estate. Getting his head. He knows they're boys. But, Bam. F you. I love this guy, man. I love him. Incredible. Incredible. Kyle Lowry after the game last night says, quote, "All I want to do is win. And if I feel like something I can say or I can put into play, I'm going to say it and try to make the adjustment to help the win." We were in the honeymoon phase of Kyle Lowry here in Philadelphia. Nick Nurse pointed this out before the game yesterday. He says that in practice yesterday, Kyle Lowry was more animated. He was a little ornery, he describes it. And he hasn't been that way yet, so he's getting back to more of his normal self. Kyle Lowry's starting to talk his talk, ladies and gentlemen. He's starting to talk his talk. And you know what that means? He's just warming up. He is just warming up. Oh, it's going to be great in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry's going to be there, game 3 of a playoff series, and he's going to take a huge charge, and the place is going to erupt. Kyle Lowry knows how to win. I'm so happy we finally got this guy. And now he's starting to become accustomed. I mean, he already knows how it is in Philly, but like people are just chanting him on last night. And I like how he always keeps a simple demeanor too. He's not like overly animated when you watch him, but he's got all those little sneaky jabs. He's the type to run up the floor, whisper in your ear like, "Yo, I was with your girl last night," and nobody sees it. You know what I mean? Kyle Lowry's like that, man. I love this guy, and I'm happy he's on the team, and I hope that he doesn't get burnt out by the time the playoffs come. So shout out to Kyle Lowry, man. And he made a lot of winning plays last night. And we will open up the Discord here in just a couple minutes. I appreciate everybody being in here. Episode 2, Sixers Therapy. We're going to do this once a week. And we also got to talk about the upcoming road trip. But I got to give one more shout out, and that's to Kelly Oubre. Another guy. I mean, I said it since last June. Sixers need to pick up Kelly Oubre. He had 5 blocks last night. Why is Kelly Oubre playing like the number 3 option on this team? Anybody want to tell me that? I mean, I hope people call in and talk about Oubre and Lowry, etc. But Kelly Oubre is a freaking winner, man. He's just like Kyle Lowry. This guy's being paid a minimum veteran contract. He could go out there and give us 5 points a night, and we'd say, you know what? He's on a vet min. He's on a vet min. Kelly Oubre's out here putting up 19 shots a game, 22 points last night, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 blocks. These are the things I asked Tobias Harris to do. If you're not scoring the ball, get a damn block, bro. Get 12 rebounds. Go out there and put in the effort. Kelly Oubre's not afraid of anybody. There were about 4 plays last night where he throws one down and he's looking up to the crowd flexing. He does it every game. I love it. He's like one of the bad boys, you know? You don't want to mess with him. You don't want to get in his face because he's going to make you pay. He takes it all to heart. He leaves it all on the floor every single game, and I respect that about Oubre. He was playing incredible to start the year, got in an accident, whatever happened, took a month off. He is back, and he is firing on all cylinders. And when Joel Embiid comes back, if you get Maxey and Oubre playing this way and Tobias stays out of the equation, this team could be really good. I'm being honest. They could be really, really good. Oubre's finding his feel for being that like tertiary ball handler on this team. He now knows when to take a step up and get aggressive. And they're letting him do it a lot more. They're giving him that leeway. I feel like to begin the year, he was a spot-up shooter, and now he's being really, really aggressive. Sometimes he's a little over-aggressive, but I would rather him take more shots than less. And if he becomes that third option, I'm fine with Tobias kind of fading out onto the bench. Then you got Buddy, who's probably going to look better with Joel. You got Kyle Lowry. I mean, it could get interesting. Cam Payne's been a bucket off the bench, so we will see, man. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. So we will talk about all that. We're going to talk about the trip coming up because we got a tough West Coast trip. Those are always tricky. If you guys want to call into the show, give some thoughts on Tobias or Maxey or Lowry or the team, what they need to do, etc. If you want to vent, because this is a therapy session, we got to open it up to the people. The way to call in is through Discord. We're only taking calls through Discord now because the audio is much better. You can call from anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter what country you're in. And it's just a whole lot easier. So join the Discord. The link is pinned in the chat. It's also coming through. Shout out to Glitch. And if you want to call in and give your thoughts here on the Sixers Therapy Show. I'm going to read some of the comments. Let's see. We got Lexi in the chat. What's up, Lexi? Says, hit that like button. We're at 73 likes. Get us to 100, man. Get us to 100. Maul says, Oubre's aggressiveness has been good for this team. Play-by-play with JJ. What's up, bro? He says he's playing like the number 2 option right now. Noom says we should have drafted Oubre instead of Okafor to begin with. I promise you that was not Hinky's pick. No way in hell. Yeah, Oubre has always been a baller, man. He's had a really interesting career. I almost feel like I remember different versions of Kelly Oubre. Like I remember the Phoenix Suns Kelly Oubre. I remember the Warriors Oubre, the Hornets. Just feels like he's gone through a lot of different things in his career. Also, by the way, when you join the Discord, you just got to go down to the call-in little server. That's how you join, because some people were asking that last week. So if you want to call in on the Discord. Join our Discord. It's also a huge group chat where we just talk about, Sixers and Eagles and a bunch of Philly sports and general sports. So it's always a good time, man. Play-by-play with JJ says Batum becomes another key guy. Yeah, that's another one. It's another one. He had 2 points last night, but he had 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block. Batum was making some really nice passes last night, too. Another guy that's like in the right spot. There was one play where he's up against, I think it was Duncan Robinson. Might have been Rozier, I forget. But, man, they're just going at it. And Batum's just keeping his feet down. And I'm just like, wow. For a 34-year-old, like, this guy can play defense, man. It's all in the IQ. It's all in the IQ, man. Noom says Batum entry passes become gold. Toby inbound passes become obviously mediocre. Yeah, I agree. Chrissy Ish says, I'm mad I can't make the game out here in Phoenix. Chris, you got to take a trip. Come to Philadelphia. Go to one of the games. Playoff environment's going to be insane. Lonell says, I want the Cavs. We match up good with them. Yeah, I agree. Cavs are probably the number one team I'm looking at right now. Like, yo, let's get this team in the first round of the playoffs. Wayne says, if Rocco can come back healthy, I'm starting him over Tobias, him or Batum. And again, you get these pieces back into the equation, and it almost makes you think like, well, what if Melton wasn't hurt, you know? What if Melton was good to go? What if Rocco was good to go? Like, this team would have some actual firepower, and it just feels like they've been banged up for a long time. So, yeah, man, it's tough. It's brutal. It's frustrating, but if they can get Joel Embiid back, as we've been saying for months now, I mean, I think things will pan out. I think they actually have a shot to be a formidable team. So, I want to talk about the West Coast trip coming up. Then we'll see if anybody calls in. If anybody has anything to say, and we'll talk about some positives. I feel like this Sixers therapy has actually been a little more positive, especially compared to last week. I mean, last week we were on a all-time bad Tobias stretch. Sixers had lost 2 games, and then they won the last 2, which is good. But let's talk about the upcoming schedule, because boy, oh boy, it doesn't get easier. Tell you that. Doesn't get easier. They got Phoenix tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Then they got the Lakers on Friday. Now, the Lakers have been up and down, but they just had a couple players, I think, get ruled out for the season. So the Lakers are kind of just floating, but obviously they need every single win. Then you have the LA Clippers 2 times out of the next 3. Clippers are struggling right now. They don't want to say anything to Sixer fans. I mean, I haven't seen a Clippers fan in a month now. James Harden is starting to become the playoff James Harden. Paul George is up and down. Kawhi's Kawhi, but the Clippers are struggling. They are struggling right now, and we'll see where their footing is, you know, come playoff time. But you got the Clippers twice, and they're going to come out hungry. You know, there's going to be a lot of hype around that James Harden game. And then you got the Kings in between them, the Cavs, the Raptors, OKC, Miami. So, look, man, you're going to need to win these games. Like, now we saw he can win. And honestly, I don't want to be the guy again. But, Tobias, is that ankle bothering you? Is that ankle bothering you, Tobias? Like, take your time. Take your time coming back, Tobias. Take your time, please. Take your time, bro. Team was playing last night. The defense was, again, the number one thing that stood out for me. Like, they were playing, bro. They were playing. It was incredible to see. Tobias, take your time, man. How many games are they going to win out of these upcoming games? I think Phoenix will be tough just because who do they have that they can stick against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker? It's going to be a tough one. But if the Sixers play offense the way they did last night, at certain points they can win that game. Lakers will be interesting. Another tough one. Anthony Davis, I feel, is going to have an all NBA night, a season high against Mo Bamba and, you know, Paul Reed and the rest of them. It's gotten bad to where at certain points Nurse has to go with 5, you know, players under the height of 6'7". I mean, last night he had KJ Martin at center for a bit. Mo Bamba was decent last night, but again, there were stretches where he just didn't do anything. So I just feel like AD is going to have a night. Clippers will be a lot of hype. There will be a lot of hype around that game. So yeah, man, it's going to be tough these next 5. And Sabonis is having an insane season. Matter of fact, I think Sabonis is probably having one of the best years in the NBA. Not even being talked about. So, in my mind, I think they can win at least 2 of the next 5. If they could win 3, that would be huge. That would be huge. The Raptors is an easy, winnable game. Cavaliers, Sixers have had their number this year. Plus, the Cavs have been banged up recently. OKC is going to be tough. And Miami the next time will probably be tough as well. So, that's kind of where I'm at. I could see them winning out of the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of the next 8 games, if they can win 4 of them, I would be happy. I would be happy if they can win 4 out of the next 8. So let me know what you guys think, man. Chrissy says we need you at 100. Tobias CH says nobody can keep pace with Tyrese Maxey. Raps should win because Raps are literally rebuilding. Michael, what's going on? Jeff says, I don't know how Miami lost to the Sixers with no Embiid. I'll tell you exactly how they did it. Because Nick Nurse made huge adjustments. He made huge adjustments. They were running a lot of different actions. Once Miami stuck with that zone, they were finding ways to beat it. They started to hit shots. Tyrese was great, but also on the defensive end. Like, they were putting pressure on these guys. They were not letting them inside for 1 second. They were making them settle late in the shot clock for really tough shots, and they were playing full possessions. It was nice to see. And like I said, they were just making more winning plays last night. They were making more winning plays. That's what it came down to, man. It was incredible. Ryan Rowe, what's going on? Robbie says Mo Bamba keeps getting better. He was okay, but still do not trust him in the slightest. There are just times where he just doesn't look motivated at all. At all. My guy Glitch is dropping the Discord link. Once again, if you want to hop into the conversation, join in on the Discord. I mean, apparently nobody wants to vent today. Maybe everything's good. Maybe everything's good for once. Either way, though, join the Discord so you can hop in on the conversation. We do a lot of extra things on there. Good way to connect on the show. Macy says Tyrese needs to keep cooking. Brandon says Tyrese Maxey or Jason Tatum. I mean, they're kind of hard to compare. They're in different situations in their career. But I will say the pressure is on the Celtics. They have been the front runner all year. And I mean, they look like, based on how the season's gone, they should be able to beat anybody, right? If the Celtics don't win this year, they are chokers and they're never winning. That's my opinion. That's my opinion, because they have had many opportunities to go out there, make it happen. I know Steph Curry had an insane, wild NBA Finals run, etc. But they've had a lot of opportunities, man. Celtics have been there, 3 times already to the conference finals, 3 or 4? They should be able to win one. And if they don't, then I think they I think they're chokers. That's how I feel. But yeah, man, this West Coast trip, these are always tricky because I just feel like your time, your internal clock, your time is thrown off, and it's just different. It's just different. So last time they went out on the West Coast, unfortunately, things started to get bad. Hopefully they can pick it up this time, the second and final one of the year. Couple guys that I'm looking to step up in the coming games. Number 1, Kyle Lowry. I think if Lowry can continue to provide the impact that he is, that this team can really benefit from it. And I think just his energy on the court kind of brings others up and it puts them in better positions. Obviously Tyrese Maxey, but let me ask you guys, who's one guy you need to step up over the next 5-6 games till we talk again next week? Who's one guy you want to see step up? If Tobias Harris comes back, sure. I want to see him play well. I want to see Tobias play well, but hopefully he's taking a look at this game from a far point of view and he's trying to work on just the little things, right? And getting himself in rhythm. And hopefully Tobias can make an impact on the scene. But if he's not, Nick Nurse cannot be afraid to pull the plug. He cannot be afraid to pull the plug. So I really hope that they figure it out. Noom says, Celtics want to chuck threes all day. Let them. The whole team is not bought into defense. Yeah. Yeah, it's really going to come down to it in crunch time, I think they have a lot of talented players, but they all need to be clicking, and Tatum's got to step up, he can't have one of those 5 for 20 games in a huge playoff scenario. So, let's see. Gennaro says, Buddy and Martin need to step up. JMC says, Batum start making shots. Manny says, let's ask Tobias to rest for a while. Philly Dell says, Buddy has to keep getting better. Noom says, I want to see Buddy go 8 for 35. So a lot of the chat seems to think that Buddy Hield's the guy that needs to step up, and I'd probably agree. I think that's a good idea, you know? Jeff says Batum, Tobias, and Kyle Lowry. Yeah, and figuring out what you want to do at the center position will be huge. Hopefully Embiid, can come back in a couple weeks, but you got to stay afloat. You got to stay afloat, right? Indiana's right behind you. Miami will be there. And, if the Knicks fall a bit or Orlando, you might even be able to get up to the number 4 or 5 seed. You might even be able to get up a little bit. So, yeah, man, we will see kind of how it plays out. Let's see. What else did we have? I thought people would be chiming in, going off on why the Sixers are better without Tobias Harris, but apparently everybody's relaxing tonight, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you. We got a long West Coast trip starting tomorrow, man. It's going to be interesting. Hope you get your espresso machines ready. Hope you get your late night coffee in order. Hopefully you don't have to work early in the morning because you're going to be up late for the Sixer games, man. 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Then it'll be, 10:30 the next game. Then it's 3:30 on Sunday, which is weird. Then 10 p.m. on Monday. So 3 games. Not terrible, but 3 out of the next 4 will be at 10 p.m. here on the East Coast. So we will see what happens, man. Gennaro says, is Kai Jones playing with us in the playoffs? I don't think he'll be eligible. I have to check on that, but for the next 10 days or whatever, he signed a 10-day contract. For the next 8 days or whatever it is now, he will be in the G League, man. He will be in the G League. So I don't know why they're not experimenting with Kai Jones. Was talking about this a bit last night as well. It just makes so much sense to bring him up, see if he can impact your interior presence. Because like I said, man, Mo Bamba, he's not it. He's got a couple nice moments, but he's not it overall. And I think B-Ball Paul is better as a backup. So, yeah, man, until Joel comes back, it would make sense to bring Kai Jones up. They did an interview with him the other day, and he seems like he went through a change. Like he was obviously struggling with his personal life, with family death and probably addiction in some way. Like it seems like he was on some hard drugs, but yeah, he seems like he's changed. Seems like he's getting his head right. And I would be excited to see him up and see what he could do. But I don't know if they're going to give him that opportunity. Sixers don't really make sense with a lot of these decisions. And, I just don't really get where they're at right now. So we'll have to see how it plays out, man. RJ says, I'm on the road all night. RB, I'll be locked in with you, bro. Sounds good, man. Yeah, we will be live for all these games as always. Like I said, the point of doing this type of show, let me know if you guys enjoy this in the chat. Let me know if you want us to continue the Sixers therapy. The point of this show is just to kind of have like a weekly recap show, talk about what's happened in the last week, and also look forward to the next week. Just a way of bringing some diverse content to the channel. Because, we got the videos pumping out. We got the live streams during the games. Wish I could do the post games, where hopefully we'll get something like that going in the future, especially for the playoffs. But yeah, man, it's nice to just talk with the people, kick it back a little bit, have people call in, hear from them on how they feel about the team. And then, you go from there. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens. Lionel says more ball movement without Tobias, RB. I agree. They're a lot more comfortable with each other, for sure. For sure. I think Kai has some rust to shed. I mean, it looked pretty good in the D League or G League. Looked pretty good in the G League in his appearance. So we'll see how it plays out, man. Other than that, the Sixers have a big week ahead. I hope that these last two games weren't just, flash in the pan. I hope they can keep that up. I hope they play exactly the way they played yesterday. It was fun to watch in person. And it just feels like the vibes have been down for a while. So the way that they won this last game really gives me confidence. But, I will continue to vent. If they bring Tobias back into the equation, which I do feel like is going to happen, I just don't see it working out that well. So that is where my mind is at. Philly Dell says, when is the last time we won 2 games in a row? The answer is yes. We are extremely better without Tobias. Batum didn't score, but he played good defense. He rebounded at an athlete level. Jeffrey says, who's the starting 5 when Embiid is still playing? I mean, probably the same 5 from before, but maybe Lowry instead or Buddy. Manny says, continue this, RB, with your discussion. We can vent our feelings with the team. And that's the hope, man. That's the hope. And that's why we're here doing it. We're going to have guests on this show as well. We're going to do a lot of different things, but just want to create more avenues of content and just continue to be there for the people that constantly support. Look, man, at the end of the day, Sixers have a big game tomorrow night. Hopefully they can get the job done. Nobody wants to call in tonight. All good. We'll end it off with a positive. The positive, again, as I reiterated, is that Tyrese Maxey is playing like a superstar. Tyrese is playing like a superstar, man. If he continues this, and if Joel Embiid comes back healthy, I just think that 2-man game is going to be very hard to stop. I really, really, really think that Tyrese Maxey is on his way. And we'll end it off. I did this last week, but I want to get more people involved. Drop something in the chat or call in or whatever. What's your one positive that you're taking into this next week, right? Let's end the therapy session on a positive light. In terms of Tyrese Maxey, for me, like, my positive is not even just about the foreseeable future, like the next month or two. I'm just talking about in general. I really think this kid is going to be one of the faces of the league one day, or he has the potential to. I really think Tyrese Maxey can be one of those guys. Just watching how he has developed, watching his mindset. You just root for this kid. You want him to succeed, man. He's very likable. Very likable. That's my thoughts on Tyrese Maxey. And that's my positive. That's my positive. Chrissy dropping the blue and red hearts. Shout out to Chrissy. We got CH in here. Nathan Aussie says, I think I've missed a whole heap of this. Yeah, man, we've been live for, an hour now. That's probably how long we're going to run these, about an hour. But, yeah, man, we're going to do this once a week. Still trying to figure out what day would be best. Maybe Monday. But, yeah, man, we're going to keep doing this show. Maxey's my positive. If he continues to keep this up, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for many years in the NBA. And he's being a lot more consistent now. His approach to the game is tremendous, and he wants it. He wants it. AJ says, crazy how he had exactly 30 points in the last 3 games. He's cooking, man. Jamie says, go UConn. Oh, yeah, March Madness. March Madness. And it's definitely going to get mad. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Nathan says, sorry, I was working. All good, man. Hopefully you guys watch this on the playback. Maybe we'll get some people to watch on the playback. Lexi, shout out to you. We got fire emojis in the chat. Lionel says, 2-game win streak. Give us momentum is my positive. Love it. Love it. Let's see, man. DJ does Mondays, I think. I'm just going to find a day where we can just do this Sixers therapy show. If the game's on that day, we'll do it the next day. But, yeah, man, we're going to have guests on the show. It's going to be fun. Hopefully we'll get some more consistent callers to tap in and, give us some thoughts. But join our Discord, man. Join our Discord. We'll be talking in there. And other than that, great couple of wins for the 76ers. Hopefully they can keep it up. And big game tomorrow night. I will catch you all tomorrow. We'll be live 10 p.m., maybe 9:50 p.m. We'll be talking about it all, man. We'll be talking about it all. But once again, man, this is Philly Take with RB, Sixers Therapy Pod, where the fans come to voice their frustrations and vent. But we always end it off on something positive, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Big game tomorrow. Let's get a win. Let's make it 3 in a row. You guys have a great rest of your night. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.